In this video, we're going to be looking at performing upgrades. Again, this is for our MTA for the 98-365. Now, before we start this one, we're going to take a look at this website. This is from Microsoft up here, and this is upgrading Windows Server. And as you can see, this is about upgrading from 2016 to 2019, or from 2012 R2 and so on. Let's go down to the chart I have down here in the middle of this thing somewhere. Oh, no, I have to go up to the right page here. Here we go, this chart in the middle. Which version can you upgrade to? And here it says you can upgrade in place. They call this an in-place upgrade to the current version from the previous two versions. So by two versions here, we're saying from 2016 to 2019, or from 2012 R2 to 2019. You cannot go from 2012 to 2019. Likewise, you can go to 2016 from 2012 or 2012 R2 and so on. I know from these lines it's hard to tell, but if you look very carefully, you can tell that this 2012, this line is just before this gray bar ends, whereas the 2012 R2, it's right. This solid line here ends right at the end of that and begins right at the end of that. So you can go two of these steps, but not three. All right, now having said that, once you go to any one of these things, and by the way, well, you can't see what I'm clicking here. If I click these, you notice if I go to the server 2012 here, you may notice that it says upgrade Windows 2012 to 2016. It does not say 2019. And then if I go over here to 2012 R2, it says 2012 R2 to 2019. And it says before you begin, and then it says you should collect a bunch of information. System info, and then some information, IP config all, and some information, and then to the registry, and then some information, and so on. So you should go to all that, and then you would put in your medium, your disk, and start setup. So the idea of an upgrade is you're going to put in the same disk that you would usually use for clean install, but you're going to have Windows already running in order to do that. All right, having said all that, I have here a server. Now let's get this thing lined up now that I've moved it all around here. I have here a Windows server. It's got the server manager already running. Let's go ahead and close the server manager. Here's my Windows Server 2016. And I already have a disk put in this thing. Let's go ahead and go to my File Explorer here. And here's my CD drive. And it's got a Windows 2019 disk in it. So this is a Server 2016. I believe this one is a data center version. And this is an evaluation. That's going to be important in a couple of minutes here. So since this disk is already in it, I'm going to open that up. And you'll notice besides all this stuff that we have, remember earlier, we booted to this disk, but now we're not going to boot to it. We're just going to go to this setup. And by the way, one of the first things I do anytime to start up a new machine, one of the first things I like to do is go to the view here and turn on the file name extensions. I do this in all my home machines. Anytime I start a machine, I like to have these file extensions on. So I'm going to go to this setup exe, and I'm going to go ahead and run that setup exe. So now we're doing the upgrade. Do I want to download the updates, drivers, and optional features first? I really should, but for demonstration purposes, I'm not going to. And no, I'm not going to help make installation of Windows better. In other words, I'm not going to send Microsoft information right now for this demonstration. Checking for updates. Don't ask me why, since I did not turn on check for updates. Now, I can upgrade to the same thing that I already have. It would not work well if I choose, if I can go standard since I have data center, but I can't go from standard to data center. I can go from data center to standard, but I'm running data center, so I need to choose data center. By the way, I can go from desktop to server core, but I cannot go from server core to desktop. Why? It's a security measure. If I'm running server core, I don't want somebody to be able to upgrade it to desktop and compromise my system. So I'm running desktop and I'm running data center. I should stick with the same thing. I could downgrade if I wanted to, but I don't want to. All right, click next, and I have to accept the EULA here, which I will accept. Now, normally I have two options here: keep personal files and apps, or nothing. You notice that this one's grayed out, and the reason it's grayed out is because I'm using an eval copy. I know that this message says otherwise, and this is just poor planning on Microsoft's part. It says your files, apps, and settings can't be kept because you're installing an edition of Windows that's different than the one that you're currently using. Well, no, it's not. I'm using Data Center, and I'm upgrading to Data Center, so it is not different from the one I'm using. However, since it's an evaluation copy, this is grayed out. So what does all of this mean? It means that any users will be kept on this system, and not only the users, but any files, applications, and all that will be kept. And by the way, when you're upgrading in server, it also keeps all the roles and all of that, your applications, your roles, everything is kept right along with it in server as you upgrade. So normally when you upgrade, you would want to keep all of this along with it, and all of that would move right along with the upgrade. So this is what I would normally check, and that would be the upgrade. Now I'm not going to talk about this nothing one yet, because that will be in another video as we go. So I would click this one, I would click next, and off we go, and that is how we would upgrade this thing from, say, 2016 to 2019, or 2012 R2 to 2016 or 2019.